Hang out with me today while we take a look at this Pfaff Serger and get this thing back up and running. Welcome to the Sewing Machine Repair Guy. I'm Wes, and today we have this Pfaff Creative 4874 Serger. The owner didn't really say anything was wrong with it. They just wanted it cleaned up, and then they wanted directions on how to thread the machine, so I'll end up printing out some pages from a manual for this machine. So I'm guessing that means that this machine has probably either been sitting for a long time or they just purchased it and they want to start using it. So it could be that we're looking at something that's been sitting for a while, and it also looks pretty dirty. So without any further ado, let's get to the teardown. So while I'm doing the teardown, let's talk about Pfaff. Pfaff was founded in 1862 by George Michael Pfaff, an instrument maker in, oh my goodness, Kaiserslautern, Germany. During the Industrial Revolution, he handcrafted his first sewing machine, launching a legacy of innovation that spans over 160 years. By 1885, Pfaff had expanded internationally, opening a shop in London and modernizing its factories to meet growing demand. The company's commitment to precision engineering became a hallmark, celebrated in 1912 with a commemorative postage stamps for its 50th anniversary. The Pfaff Creative 4874, introduced around the early 2000s, showcases this legacy. It's a versatile 5-thread serger with overlock capabilities, supporting up to 10 threads and offering 30 built-in stitches, including unique decorative top cover stitches that were cutting edge for their time. This machine features a computerized LCD screen that guides users on needle positions, knife settings, and more, making it accessible despite its advanced functions like differential feed and adjustable stitch widths up to 9 millimeters. Manufactured in Japan, this model emphasizes durability and professional-grade performance, capable of handling overlock seams, chain stitches, and rolled hems with ease. In the late 1990s, Pfaff was acquired by SVP Worldwide, yet its dedication to quality craftsmanship remains unwavering. The Creative 4874 stands as a testament to Pfaff's enduring reputation for blending technology with user-friendly design. So we've got this machine most of the way apart, and I'm looking at this front cover, and I'm looking behind here and noticing that there are a ton of connectors, and they're all white and they're all the same number of wires, and at this point, I'm pretty sure I can get to everything I need to. So I think we're going to say that's good to stay where it is, because what I can do is this. And I can get under there and clean all that and oil. And unless I find a problem, we're good enough. Alright, next step is I'm going to clean out all the dust. So we're going to use pressurized air, maybe vacuum, some other things. I'm going to oil the machine, and then I'll see you back on the other side. When you're cleaning machines, make sure that you are looking for everything, and you look at these tension discs and you notice, ooh, that doesn't look good. Let's see if we can get that out of there. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's going to mess up your tension. So as we're doing a little bit of cleaning here, just getting, we've already, blown it out and everything. And now we're at this point just kind of getting what's left on the plastic for all this dust that these things love to accumulate. Figured I'd give you an update of how things are going with Sewing Machine Repair Guy. You may notice that in more videos I'm doing things like pushing my merch. So you got the Hooked on Sewing Machines t-shirt right here. You can find that t-shirt at sewingmachinerepairguy.com. But yeah, I'm pushing more merchandise and things like that because, well, I've got a daughter who's going to college here soon. In less than a year, we're doing college applications right now, and we're finding that college is not cheap. I don't know if any of you knew that. It's not cheap. So we're now she's very smart, and she can get some scholarships, and we're not afraid of her getting, you know, whether or not she's getting accepted to colleges, but still, there's a lot of money involved in this whole situation. So, just trying to make a little bit more income on my business, considering that the actual cleaning sewing machines part of the business does not make a whole lot, and I don't want to scale that up because I'm trading time for dollars, and I'd rather spend that time with the daughter who is getting ready to leave us for good, start her own life. So that's why I'm working on things behind the scenes and some things in front of the scenes. And what might surprise some of you, but definitely not all of you, is that I taught myself how to do all this, so I don't know the best practices when it comes to this, and I'm sitting here cleaning every little square on this Serger. Is that something that people do? Am I the only one that does this? Other people that repair sewing machines, do you go through and clean even the insides of the covers? I don't know what the best practices are for the industry, and I probably should find out some of that stuff. Maybe I'll take a course or something. Learn how to do what I do. Or learn how other people do what I do. What are the industry best practices? I don't know. Well, here we are. We got the machine all put together. We got it all cleaned up. Everything's done as far as what I think needs to be done. Now we got to see if the thing actually sews, because there could have been a problem here that we don't even know yet because we didn't try to sew with it. But let's give it a try. So we'll turn it on. Alright, we are on program 18, which is exactly what I threaded it for, because that's your typical what you're going to do when you're using a serger. That's your 4-thread over edge seam. Well, see what happens. Alright, how colorful is that? So the knife and our stitch are not working together, so we need to adjust something. So this is your knife. Alright, we've adjusted, so this is the width of that cut. That is not stitch length. So how do you adjust stitch length? Right here. Oh, it's 2.5. So it wants this to be at 5.5. That's what that means. Okay, we're getting there. Now we're adjusted to what I think the machine wants us to be adjusted for, so we're going to try again. Alright, so let's look at our stitch again. We're going to look at this a little closer. Now we are seeing that we are pretty lined up there on top. Not too bad. My upper looper, lower looper look pretty good. My right needle, it looks a little loose. because it's not going through the tension discs. All right, so if you thread it correctly, you should be all right. There you go. Is everything through the tension discs? Yes, everything is through the tension discs except for that one. So, all right, let's give that a try again. Oh, I just found it. There's my speed adjust. All right, let's pump that baby all the way up. What are we looking at on here? Oh, wow, that's much better. I like it. I like it. All right, let's do a fast one. I also like this multicolored thread. That's kind of neat how it does that. The next one, we're going to do a fast one, but we're going to do 4 layers of fabric to make sure the knife is cutting the way it should. That's the speed we're looking for. Wow. Okay, I want to keep this machine now. That's pretty nice. It's fast. Once I figured out how to use the thing. That is a beautiful stitch right there. I like it. I'm sorry, customer. I lost your machine. I think it was lost in a boating accident. I don't know how much she got this machine for, but she got a deal. She got a deal. That's pretty good. I'm good with that. We're gonna clean up what I just made for a mess with all that stuff there, but we're gonna call this machine is good to go. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and don't forget to put these back in. Your customers don't like it when their machine has a bunch of holes in it that they couldn't see before.